All right, so here it is. This is the Mathews Lift 33, which arrived over the weekend. As you can imagine, I'm pretty anxious to get it set up and start shooting it as part of my Total Archery Challenge preparation. We're just over 2 months away from the Total Archery Challenge that I'll be shooting in Sunlight Mountain, Colorado. If you remember from a previous video back in November, I got the Lift 29.5, shot it through the rest of the 23-24 hunting season, liked it perfectly well. I do already have from last year my Phase 4 33. I did a comparison video, some of you may have seen that, and just kind of shot both of them side by side, the Mathews Phase 4 33 versus the Lift 29.5, and I actually slightly preferred the 33. So what I ended up doing is I sold the 29.5 to a friend of mine and then used the proceeds to go ahead and buy the Lift 33. I ordered it a couple of months ago. It came in over the weekend. So today it's raining outside. Great day to be inside setting up the bow. So I'm going to go ahead and get it set up. First thing I'm going to do is show you the components that I'm going to be running with the bow and some of the accessories I'll be using, and then we'll go through the setup and installing each of those accessories. I will put timeline chapter markers in the timeline below, so if you want to skip ahead to a certain section, feel free to do that, or if you just want to skip towards the end where we're shooting the bow, again, I'll have chapter markers in the timeline below. First things first, this is the Mathews Lift 33. It's in the earth color. I had originally ordered it with a custom limb color, custom riser, custom strings, some other custom options on it. Because of the custom options, it was going to take longer to get here. They said it would be mid-June, and because of the time constraints of the Total Archery Challenge in the middle of July, I didn't want to have to wait that long. I contacted Mathews, asked them if I went with more standard options, if it would ship sooner. They told me if I went with one of the basic colors, in this case the earth color, which is new for this year, and I actually like that color, and the standard black strings, it would ship in early May. So went ahead and proceeded with that. Received it this past weekend, so just 2 days ago it came in, and so we're going to run through the setup now. I got it with a 29.5 inch draw length, 70 pounds with 85% let off on the modules. Everything else is pretty standard with it. So let's real quickly go through the different components that I'm going to put on it. The first thing is the sight. I've got a Spot Hog Fast Eddy XL with the triple stack pin configuration and housing, and it's got the, of course, the bridge lock situated post on it, so we'll put that on. And this is the same sight that I shot last year. I've shot it on the Phase 4. I'll go ahead and continue to shoot it on the Lift. I also have, just for comparison purposes, I have the old Spot Hog Hogget that I've had for many years. It's a fixed 5-pin sight. Love this sight. So I do keep this as a backup option if I decide that I want to run a fixed pin sight. Got a little thunder going on there. Apologize for that. All right, so Ultrarest Integrate MX2. So this is new for this year. Similar to the previous versions of the Integrate. Of course, it's got the dovetail mount that we'll talk about in just a moment. Mounts onto the riser of the bow. They did make some changes to it this year, and so I did shoot it on the 29.5 inch lift that I have. Works great. Very similar to the other one. I think it's a little bit lighter, so we'll be running that as well. I'm going to go with a 1/4 inch peep sight. This just happens to be a glow peep that I purchased from Brushed Bay Outfitters, knowing that the bow was coming in. I wanted to step up from the 3/16 inch peep that I shot last year at the Total Archery Challenge to the 1/4 inch, just a little bit bigger opening, let a little more light through, be able to see the target a little bit better. I've got the Engage EXO limb legs. The previous Engage limb legs that are on the Phase 4 unfortunately do not fit the new bow. They created a different version, in part because the limbs are wider, so it's a new limb configuration, a new pocket configuration, a little bit wider than the previous models, and so the old limb legs don't fit. So I did purchase the new limb legs for it, a little bit lighter than the previous ones, and supposedly a little bit better, tighter fit. So I'll have that. I am going to change out for this year the Engage grip. On the Mathews, we talked about that before. That's one of the complaints a lot of people have. A lot of people don't like the rounded Engage grip that comes stock with the bows. I decided I want to try something different. I looked at the UltraView B-Reel 2.0. A lot of people, in fact, a lot of the guys that I'm shooting with have purchased that rest and are going to be shooting it for the Total Archery Challenge. Did a little research, came across the TAC grip for Mathews bows with the 0-degree angle, so I decided to give it a shot. I'm going to put that on. I'm not going to put this on today. I want to shoot both of these bows, the Phase 4 and the Lift 33, side by side. I want to get a feel for which one draws best, shoots best, and so I want them equipped the same with the engaged grip, but then I'll go ahead and put this TAC grip on it and see how that changes things. Probably go ahead and put it on the Lift first, and then if I decide that I want to get rid of the Lift and keep the Phase 4, I'll just switch it over, if I like it, to the Phase 4. Also going to shoot a stabilizer. This is the bridge lock stabilizer from Mathews. This is actually a 12-inch. The one that I'm going to be shooting is a 10-inch. When I sold the Lift 29.5 to my friend Kevin, I went ahead and let him use my stabilizer, so I ordered him another one. This is a 12-inch model, so I'll be switching those out when I see him. Similarly, I'll be shooting the Low Pro detachable quiver, single piece, runs in tight. Shot this for the last couple of years. Really like having that low profile quiver. Let's see what else. As far as release goes, you may know that I switched to the Carter just because. I've got a couple of these. One is the primary, one is the backup, kind of along that 2 is 1, 1 is none type philosophy. So in fact, I'm not sure where the other one is right now, but I will continue to shoot the just because with either bow. Got a couple of different accessories to kind of change out the colors, but those are just pretty basic stuff. As far as arrows go, we talked about it in the last video. For Total Archery Challenge, I'm going to be shooting these Easton match grade 6.5 millimeter arrows with 100 grain match grade points, and then I've got the Easy Vanes that I ordered from Australia, again 3D printed custom vanes. I'm testing those currently against the vanes that I shot last year, which are the AAE Max Hunter vanes. So far these have shot really well. I've probably been shooting them for about 3 weeks now. They're very durable, haven't had any problems with them so far. So more than likely, I like the low profile design of them. I'll probably be shooting these for TAC and may actually switch over to them for hunting season. There's actually a lot of good reasons to shoot them for hunting season as well. I do have more arrows ready to cut, fletch, and put together. We'll save that for a different video. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the bow build. Again, if you want to skip ahead, I'll put the chapter markers in the timeline below. All right, I went ahead and switched sides for lighting and camera angle purposes. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install the Ultrarest Integrate MX2. We're going to align the mark that's on the rest. You can see it right there with this line that's on the riser of the bow, and then tighten it down. That should give us a center shot in the proper location of the arrow through the burger button. So we've got that on there. I tightened it down fairly tight, that inner set screw for now, and I'll come back and tighten that later, and then we'll clamp on for the final install at a later time. All right, so I got a bubble level that I put on the string. I've got another little level here. I'm gonna put it on the string stop bar. So we've got 2 points to check level. Both of those are level. So now we can set the level on our rest and set our nocking point. All of them are matching up, and so we should be good to go right there. Okay, with that on there, we can start tying our D-loop. So get it put on. I'm going to do bottom first and then top. Doesn't really matter which way you do it. So the critical thing to make sure on this is, you see I've got my loop coming from, and I don't know if you can see that, but the loop around this side, so it's around the inside where I am closest to me. So the next one we make is actually going to be, we're going to come around to the opposite side so that they're kind of crossing the string, and that'll keep it rotating and pull the pin properly tight. Okay, so we got our D-loop installed. I'm going to rotate it back to level. Check it again. Okay, so that's going to give us our initial level. So now that we've got that done, we can install the Peep sight. And I'm going to use another accessory that I didn't show earlier. is we've got the stay of field system. Again, specifically designed for the lift, will not work with the Phase 4, and the vice versa. The Phase 4 stay of field system will not work with the lift. So this is for the Lift 33. I don't have a bow press here. Typically, if I need a bow press, I'll go up to our local archery shop at Brushed Bay Outfitters. But for little small tasks like this, installing a peep, twisting a string, twisting a cable, making slight adjustments like this, stay of field system comes in perfectly handy. So I'm going to go ahead and press the string and get that peep installed. Okay, so I got the string loosened up using the stay of field system. Take our peep, drop it on the floor. Separate the string where they've got the string separator installed. I measured it against the lift distance from where my D-loop is up to where the peep is, and so it should give me a pretty good starting point. We'll take it outside, draw it a couple of times before we tie it in, but it should give me a pretty close approximation of where it needs to go. Okay, so that'll give us a starting point. We'll go out and check it, come back in, tie it in, and then we should be pretty close to set up, and then it's all about getting it tuned. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll be right back in. We'll tie this peep in. We'll also need to tie the timing cable for the rest onto the down cable of the bow, and then we should be ready to go shoot. All right, I had to make a couple of adjustments to the peep, bring it back in. It actually rotated when I pulled it down, so had to switch it around. But I think I've got it set in a pretty good spot. The one thing I forgot to do though is install the sight. So I didn't really have a good sight picture. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bridge lock sight in here. I'm going to run it pretty much all the way in so that I can maximize my shooting distance with it. Let's go ahead and get this set in. Peep is pretty good. I'm going to take it back out one more time just to make sure everything looks good with the fast steady on there. Got a good picture in the sight housing, and then I can come back in and we'll tie it in. I got the peep set where I want it. Now I'm just going to be serving it in. This is just an old school way of doing a serving. All right, there you have it. I've got the peep, D-loop, rest, sight, legs. All right, so the last thing I need to do is set the timing cord for the rest. So I use the stay of field system to connect to this bottom down cable. All right, so we got that put through just that bottom down cable. Of course, you could just use the clamp that comes with it and clamp it on, or even just tie it on similar to a D-loop. I just like to run it through that cable, and then I'll get it set, get the timing set on it, and then get it tied in after that. So anyway, we should be good to go other than getting that fully set and tied in. So I'm just going to take an arrow, draw it back. I should get it pretty close to the correct position, and then I can adjust it from there. All right, so let's go shoot a couple of shots with it. I'll come back and tune it later. It's raining outside right now, so I just want to shoot a couple of shots real close to the target just to get a feel for it, make sure everything's set in right. And then I'll come back and tune it probably in a different video. So anyway, let's go outside and we'll shoot just a little bit. All right, I'm going to take one shot at 10 yards. I feel like my sight may be a little out, so I'll probably be hitting to the right. But we're going to test it out and see. I've got the backstop, so hopefully I'll at least hit the target at 10 yards. Okay, so I aimed a little bit to the left, hit center, so I'm not that far off. We'll make a little adjustment and then back up to 20 and see how that fares. Okay, so that one hit high at the top end of the target, a little bit right. you can see you got to hold that back wall or it's going to pull you forward. Once it breaks over, it breaks, hits that back wall. If you creep even a little bit, it's wanting to pull you forward, which actually is a good thing. That forces you to stay into that back wall, stay in your back, and I think ultimately make you more consistent. I can tell as I'm shooting it, I'm getting erratic arrow flight coming off the bow. So it's obviously going to require some tuning. So I'm not going to do a whole lot more shooting and sighting in until I can get it tuned, obviously. All right, so we're here at Brush to Bay Outfitters and ran it through paper tuning rack to tune it. First shot was about a 3-inch right tear. So Tim, say hi, Tim.
Hey, how are you?
Tim is actually going to help us change out the top hats. So we're going to try swapping them around. They always say chase your tear, so we're going to switch the two out, and hopefully that will make the difference. We got the thicker one the way that we need it to go, so we'll try that and then shoot it another time and see if that makes a difference. Up and down it was almost perfect, so we'll see how this goes.
I'm going to set it exactly the way it was. You got a bottom hat, and then switch, just move your top hats over to one side. There we go. See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
And that's perfectly tuned. So.
Much better. That's pretty slick. So this is our first hole. Pretty good tear to the right. That's shot number 2 after Tim did his magic on it. Y'all say thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
So that's my first time I've ever had to change the top hats. Actually, I did. That's not. I had to change the top hats on the 29.5-inch lift. We ended up taking that one over to Stonewall, and they were able to get that taken care of for us. Brought it over here, shot through paper one time. I was going to change out the top hats. Luckily, Tim is more of an expert at that than I am, so he was able to change that out for me. And now we're shooting bullet holes. So we're going to go back, shoot a little bit this afternoon, and see how it goes. Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
I could tell yesterday when I was shooting, it seemed like my arrow was kicking off to the right a little bit. And so I figured there might be a top hat adjustment. I don't have a bow press here. Can't do that with the stay afield system. So anyway, I took it in there, fired one shot, had about a 3-inch tear to the right. So Tim was going to let me use his bow press, but he went ahead and did it for me and changed out the top hats. We just switched out one side to the other, which moved the cams over to the right. Took it back into the shooting range, shot one shot through paper, and it was a bullet hole. So we called it good. So because we moved the top hats over, I'm assuming I'm going to get a little bit different. Probably hitting to the left, I'm assuming. We'll see how it goes, but I was hitting a little bit to the right yesterday, dialed it back over. I'm assuming I'm going to be hitting to the left a little bit today, but we're going to fire a couple shots and see, and then we'll get it sighted in at 20, and then we'll move back to 60 and go ahead and start getting a feel for the bow. Okay, so that's one thing. Again, I think I talked yesterday about on the drawback, there's a solid breakover in a wall, but if you creep up just a little bit at all, it's going to go forward on you. So just a reminder. Okay, so that's a pretty good shot. Maybe slightly to the left side of the vertical line, topish of the horizontal. I would take that definitely on the horizontal. We'll fire a couple more shots and see what we get on the vertical. I'm going to fire a couple more shots here at 20, and then we'll back up to 60. All right, so we're back at 60. The phase 4 calibration number on this was 22. So I'm going to start with that. This shoots a little bit faster, so presumably we would hit a little high. Of course, I think I was actually hitting a little bit low with the 22 at 60 on the phase 4. So we'll shoot it and see where it hits. Hopefully it'll hit on the target anyway, and then we can kind of get a... Ooh, yeah, hit high. Actually missed the brown target high, which actually is a good thing. I'm gonna shoot another one. I want it shooting faster, and I want it shooting a little bit higher than the phase 4. Presumably that will give me more distance and give me more sight housing clearance from the shaft. So we'll shoot another one, maybe aim a little low and see where this one goes. Okay, so that one hit in the target. I'm gonna walk down there and check those. I'm not gonna take you with me this time, but we'll make whatever adjustment we need to. Okay, so both of those were higher than where I was aiming, even though I picked a couple of different aiming spots, but that's okay. That will give us an indication. Clearly we're shooting faster than the phase 4 because we were significantly higher. If I was aiming at the middle of the block target, I was probably 2 or 3 inches above the actual target itself. So we'll make the appropriate adjustment here, what we think is the appropriate adjustment, and see if we can get it dialed in. It's looking pretty good there. Best I can tell from here, maybe actually still slightly high. All right, so I'll check that one out. I think we're getting pretty close. Of course, I'm going to spend a couple of days just shooting the calibration tape, seeing what the trend is as far as against the horizontal line at distance. And then we can truly make sure we'll dial it in, and then we'll put the regular tape on it. But so far, I'm really liking the way it shoots. Both of those arrows are a little above the line, so probably need to go up one more tape line. Not too bad. One of them's a little to the right, the other one's right on the vertical line. So a little bit high. This one's a little bit right. This one's slightly left of the line, but at 60 yards. We'll keep shooting and see what kind of trend we can get before we make any permanent fixtures to the sight tape. So far, I'm liking the way this thing's shooting.